the breakaway civilization has to carry out warfare with upper dimensional ethical extraterrestrial civilizations, and to carry out warfare also against the human population that lives in the surface terrestrial civilization.
Yes. Jeez. Frightening.
So this is a matrix which I think that everyone at present should be conscious of and should understand that we are in a shooting war, not because we're seeking it, but because the secret breakaway civilization of the permanent war economy is holding us hostage, if not trying to eliminate us.
Yeah. So do you think that this, the breakaway government that you talk about, do you think that they have what do you think is their motive again, if we talk about that a little bit? Is it just simply the control of the planet, again, going back to resources, minerals, or whatnot? And if it is true that they are human beings, that, to me, that just would suggest that the leading forces, so to speak, or people within this breakaway government are manipulated or controlled in some way. What can you say about that?
Yes, I would expand that definition to hold that the breakaway civilization is no longer primarily based on Earth.
Uh-huh.
It may be based in space. It may be based in other solar systems. It may be based in other planets on this solar system, such as Mars. And that from this base, this civilization has gone forth in a secretive and warlike way, and may no longer identify with this planet in that
really
deeper way, and may no longer identify with what it is to be human. Certainly, events like 9/11, like the Iraq War, like the Afghanistan War, like the use of depleted uranium weapons, which is poisoning the DNA of the entire planet because it's distributed throughout the planet by the trade winds and the westerlies, and it only takes 14 days from depleted uranium that is exploded in Iraq to reach the North American continent, and it reaches Europe within 7 days. So this is we are our entire planet as a living biosystem is being targeted by the permanent war economy. Now you can say that is human, and that the human component of this, the elite component of this, may have reached. We know that they have reached secret treaties with the Greys in the early 1950s, in which advanced technologies which were applied to military uses were exchanged in order for the right to abduct persons, abduct individuals in the mainstream population.
Yes.
So we're dealing with a breakaway civilization that is operating contrary to universal law, contrary to international law, and is, I would say, something of a pirate civilization.
Good word.
That now controls resources, but one cannot identify it as being of this planet. I think it has extended itself beyond this planet.
Alfred, there's just so much more that we obviously can talk about and touch upon here. And with having said that, I'd love to have you back at some point and touch upon some of the things that we don't have time for this time around, of course. But I do want to ask you one final question here, and that's, I guess, a little bit tying in this idea about solar activity, the peak around 2012, 13, something like that. And if you're if your general outlook on this is positive, do you think that we will succeed, so to speak, in this and actually manage to throw off these negative forces that you're talking about, or do you have a more dark view on the future years coming up here?
Yeah, no, I think that there are at least 3 cycles which will positively contribute to a human transformation of a positive nature, and these are a galactic cycle that we're going through, and in 1980, the plane of our solar system started to intersect the plane of the black hole at the center of the galaxy. It will be a 36-year process that will finish in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
We're also on a concurrent 77 million year cycle when new species appear spontaneously. We're also on a cycle involving the time acceleration matrix, which is an adaptation of the Mayan calendar by Dr. Johann Kalaman and Barbara Ann Clow.
Mm-hmm.
And in, say, from 1999 to the beginning of 2011 has been a galactic era, because that's what the black hole at the center of the galaxy is programming. And at the beginning of 2011, it will shift over to a universal era.
Yes.
Of cosmic non-dualistic consciousness. And also, we're in the solar cycle 24, where in 2012, 2013, we'll be at the solar maximum, and the index of human excitability, which goes back to 500 BC, has shown by correlation that 80% of wars, revolutions, the settling of basic social issues happens during the solar maximum, which will be 2012 to 2013. So that's a time when humanity, in a positive way, can really move to settle its basic issues.
Mm-hmm.
So my view is that with these positive cosmic cycles, with the aid of the upper dimensional extraterrestrials, and with a human population, which by the 2002 RIR-A poll is 85% congruent with the extraterrestrial presence, I think we have a positive future ahead.
Well, that's wonderful news in that regard, and I would agree with you there, Alfred. And as I mentioned here, we'd love to have you back soon. And again, thank you very much for coming on Red Eyes Radio. Again, the book is called Exopolitics, Politics, Government, and Law in the Universe. Tell people about your websites one final time, and also how people can get a copy of your book.
Yes, our website is exopolitics.com, and you can get the book there at exopolitics.com or at amazon.com.
And again, we will have these links up on redicecreations.com. Thank you very much for this second hour, Alfred.
Thank you very much.
That's our very interesting program with Alfred Webre from Exopolitics.